Media. Thanks so much, guys, for joining in. I'm going to start from the bottom of the list today, in fact, and we've got Sangeeta who's written in, and she's asking whether she can hold 150 shares of Infosys at levels of 1,415 for the long term. She's asking, can she add more or should she wait for a correction? I believe so. If she's talking about the long term, Rajesh, this is directed towards you. On the fundamentals, would you wait for a correction at this point to nibble in, or would you say that Infosys is a stock that you can add through an SIP route over the coming months and years?
Definitely yes, Alex. I would say Infosys is once a stock that one should have in one's long-term portfolio for a long. That's a must in one's long-term portfolio, I would say, irrespective of the fact that market may correct and Infosys prices may correct. But still, if you look at the numbers are going pretty good. The order book has been good. They have been going big way in digital and AI. And I think the kind of client acquisition and the low rate of attrition adds to the fact that the company is doing very well. I would say any downside in this stock should be taken as an opportunity to buy. Not only this, even the currency is in favor of IT companies. I would say Infosys, Tech Mahindra, and the likes of mid-cap companies like Persistent Systems. These are all good stocks to be in.
Right, the next one is coming in from Tarun, and this one is on TD Power. Wants to know whether he can buy at the current levels for the short term. Kunal, what's your take coming in on TD Power?
So I think from a short term view, it doesn't look attractive. The stock is drilling below its 50-day moving average. The price trends have been very sluggish for TD Power. I think from being a stock which was at 200, 210, it's come back towards 185, 190 kind of a range over the last few weeks. So I believe that the momentum is lacking into this name, and it becomes a bit trickier because when you see these stocks breaking their major supports in a very a very slow and steady kind of a manner, then we generally expect that there's a possibility of more further downside into these names. So I think purely on that aspect, I would advise and avoid on TD Power, specifically from a short term view.
Okay, we've got Avinash who's asking about Natco Pharma. I'm coming back to you, Kunal, on this one. Asking whether it can be bought at current price for the medium to long term.
Yeah, I think this is one stock which looks attractive from a medium to long term. Specifically, I think on Natco Pharma, the all-time high for the stock or the major previous high, I think 2016-17, for the stock was closer to 1,030, 1,040 levels. The stock is trading about those levels, so which means it's already confirmed a multi-year breakout for itself. And again, I think this is a very slow trending kind of a stock, and very typically see these long-term breakouts happening for these stocks, and these stocks managing to hold up those breakout levels. It's a very strong signal that they are restarting their long-term uptrend. So I think on that aspect, I would suggest a hold or buy on Natco Pharma from a medium to long-term view.
From Funny Raj is saying that he's holding 200 shares of Sharda Cropchem that's purchased at 360 rupees per share. Wants to know what's the long-term prospect of the stock. Also, can I average more at this current price? Rajesh, what's your take coming in on Sharda Cropchem on over the longer term? Looks so good.
See, the company has been doing good in the recent past, and the way things are moving in the agro space, basically on two counts. One, the government's focus towards rural economy, and not to forget that normal monsoons followed by reservoirs full of water and MSPs being high. I think the companies associated with agro space would be big beneficiaries. Sharda has been doing well of late, and I think the numbers are going to be good. Yes, one should continue holding on to the stock.
Okay, we've got Neeraj who's holding on to 3,000 shares of Hatway Cables, and he's looking to hold for the next 3 to 5 years. Is that the right approach? And especially considering that you have so many streaming services, Rajesh, is it a good strategy to hold on to something like this for the long term?
I can't get the stock name, Alex.
We're talking about Hatway Cables.
Okay, right. I don't find any reason to be in the stock as on an investment perspective as such, because the numbers are not that good to hold in for a longer period of time. In media stocks, if you look at some of the good teams like Z or a Balaji would be a better preferred bet rather than going for Hatway. So I would say for trading purpose, yes, these are good stocks. They give good upside, downside at certain point of time, good trading opportunities. But for investment, I would say Z would be a better bet, or even Sun TV would be a better bet.
All right, this one is from Bharat saying that please provide your view on Petronet LNG. I want to buy it for the long term with a time horizon of about 5 to 8 years. Rajesh, Petronet LNG looks good for the longer term. Makes sense to buy right now?
Yes, so we are hoping that gas prices are going to go up like anything. Even ONGC management has come on record some times back that they expect the prices to go up by around 40-50% in the next quarter or so, and that would be a big booster to these kind of companies. Petronet LNG being one of their beneficiaries can be held for a longer period of time. But I would like to add that Gujarat Gas has got better prospects than Petronet LNG, which would give better returns. So I would say you have a choice. Either you go for Petronet LNG, which is a slow mover, or a Gujarat Gas, which can give you hefty returns in a much shorter period of time.
Okay, Muthu is asking about Cholamandalam Investment and Finance Company, and since you've not asked about what your time frame is, I'm going to take the liberty of asking Kunal. Kunal, what are the prospects on the charts? How does this company look?
That's Chola Finance, right?
Yeah, Chola Finance, right.
Okay. I think it's been an exceptional chart. I've been tracking the stock very, very closely in the last 12 months specifically. And I think it's been an exceptional mover. I remember a time when Chola Finance was just tottering at the levels of 200, 250 for quite some time. And when the breakout actually panned out for the stock, I think somewhere in October or September, October 2020, it was more of a trend-changing breakout. You saw the stock breaking lifetime highs at that point of time. And from there on as well, from a level of 350 or 400, it scaled up another 150 to 200 rupees higher from those levels. So I think it's a stock which now looks exceptionally strong from a long-term basis. You've got the stock back into a corrective phase. So I think if I'm not wrong, it's corrected more than 15%, 14-15% from its major highs of 600 as well. So these could be good opportune times where you should be looking to chip into these names, and these are quality stocks which should be held from a portfolio perspective. So extremely bullish on Chola Finance from a longer term view specifically, and dips like these, what you're seeing right now, should be bought into.
All right, this one is coming in from Soumitra Joshi. He wants to know whether he can buy Kotak Mahindra Bank as well as HDFC Life at current market price. Kunal, what's your take coming in on both these counters?
I think HDFC Life, there is the news flow which we all know that's going on. So maybe that could probably keep the stock into a bit of a spot over the next couple of days. So I think if the stock comes back to say levels of 670, 675, which has been a pivot support for HDFC Life, then it could be a good proposition to buy at those levels, specifically from a short term to slightly medium term kind of a view. Kotak Bank, on the other hand, I think the stock is still taking its own time to restart a trend for itself. The good part about the stock is that it's above its 200 moving average still, even the last few weeks of consolidation. But the tough part about the stock is that it's lacking momentum, and specifically at a time when the Bank Nifty needs many of these large cap names to try and fire up. I think Kotak Bank is the one which is struggling and unable to fire up. So I think that could probably keep the stock into a bit of a short term consolidation. So I would suggest maybe a wait and watch approach on Kotak Bank and more of a buy and dips approach on HDFC Life.
Okay, we've got a question on the new kid on the block, Nazara Technologies, and this one is coming from Swayam. Rajesh, he's holding on to 50 shares of Nazara at levels of 1,510, and that's, if I'm not mistaken, not too far away from the buy price, about 40 rupees or so lower than the buy price. Should he buy at these levels? Should he accumulate more at the current levels?
See, buying at these levels I won't recommend because valuations per se is on a higher side, but not to forget that the only listed player on the gaming segment, and that gives a positive points to the stock because of scarcity of people, and the kind of growth this company has shown in the recent past, basically from the strategy of acquisition, is doing favors to them. Some of the games are on the top 10 brackets. So company is doing well. The valuations are on a higher side. Any correction can be taken as an opportunity to buy. I would say wait for a correction at least from the 10 to 12% from the CMP would be a good entry point. At this point of time, somebody holding can continue to hold, but new entry should be postponed for some time.
This one is coming in from Sagar. He wants a technical view on Indian metals and ferroalloys, also known as Infra. It's a small cap company. He's saying he's bought about 2,000 shares at the price of 245 to 250 rupees per share. He wants to know if the stock has the potential to go upwards of 800 rupees per share in the short to medium term. Kunal, this one definitely is for you. Right now, Infra is above the 500 rupees levels. Does it have scope of going over 800 rupees per share in the short to medium term?
Frankly, I don't track the stock, Cheryl, so may not be able to give a precise longer term view. But the short term charts for the stock look fairly attractive. I think the last 3-4 quarters, for example, the stock has done pretty well. It's gelled up pretty well with the entire metals or commodity theme in the last few quarters. That many of these stocks have also fired up very well. So from specifically, I think from current levels of 588. I'm very bullish on the entire commodity and the metal theme. So specifically from that aspect, yes, you can look to buy the stock, at current levels. But then I would sense that it's far more prudent and better to have more large cap oriented and quality mid cap oriented stocks from the metal names. So you have so many options available. Something like what we discussed at the start of the show, Nalco. Sale is also could also turn out to be a good proposition from a longer term view. And then probably looking at maybe Tata Steel or JSW Steel or either one of them from the large cap metal space.
This next one, Kunal, and this is a small cap stock. It's Awadh Sugar and Energy, and it's a stock that has gained 140% in the year-to-date period, most of which has taken place over the last couple of months since April or the end of April. We've got a viewer, Arvind, who's bought at levels of 280 and so is making quite a bit of a profit. Should they book profit at this juncture is the question.
Well, I would suggest yes, you should book out majority of your profits over here, at least 50% or more of your profits, because yes, the entire sugar theme is now turning out to be a very strong theme. There are no two doubts about it, and I think from a longer term view, yes, possibility that these stocks can continue to move up higher on a much longer term basis. But what happens is, as I said, when you see a short term spike or a short term rally, the indicators come back into an overbought territories, and when you see the indicators coming into such a high overbought territory, there is always a possibility of a sharp correction. Just to give an example, for Awadh Sugar, the 200-day moving average for the stock is still at 226 rupees. And the stock is already at 525 plus rupees. So you see the divergence of 300 rupees on the stock with respect to its 200-day moving averages. These are unsustainable kind of divergences, and somehow these divergences could probably result into short-term correction. So if you're sitting on a huge profit, I would suggest booking out a good amount of your profits over here, and then buy the stock once this moving average divergence reduces significantly with respect to price.
This one is from Sudarshan, wants a view on her hospital stock, either Max Healthcare or Fortis. How do these particular companies look over the longer term? Rajesh, what's the take coming in on the hospital stock in particular?
We are bullish on this, and we have been continuously recommending Apollo Hospital, and we are still bullish after this kind of run-up. Despite the fact that it's trading at 4 figures, 3,000 plus level, with 40 hospital, 10,000 beds, whole lot of pharmacy chains, medical tourism going to be opened after this unlock happens. I think these organized players are going to do well. One, because of people being health conscious, and not to forget the kind of rally with the kind of insurance entry which we are seeing, medical insurance and all. So this is going to help them. Narayana Dalai, Apollo Hospital, even Healthcare Global can be a better bet. Aster DM, which has a presence not only in India but also in UAE countries. So these are some of the bets which we are betting on in this space.
Okay, gentlemen, I do want to point out that we have about 7 minutes left. Let's take this as quickly as possible so that we can take as many questions as possible. Coming to you, Kunal, on JK Tyre, 100 shares bought by Rajan at 145. Question is, should you accumulate further at this juncture for the next 6 to 12 months?
Yes, I would advise a yes on JK Tyres. I think it looks very attractive to me on the longer term charts. Being one of the few stocks from the tyre pack to move up significantly higher. I think, if I'm not wrong, it was in the month of December or January that the stock had shown some exceptional price performance, moving up by more than from 75 rupees to almost 130 or 140 rupees in just a matter of 1 month. So extremely bullish on the longer term prospects, and dips like these should be taken as good buying opportunities.
This one is from Sudeep on Camlin Fine, 2,500 shares that he's bought at the price of 64 rupees per share. Wants to know whether it's a good long-term investment bet and whether one should add at the current levels as well. Rajesh, what's your take on Camlin Fine? Makes sense for the longer term?
See, it can be held for a long term. Good company, good promoters, corporate governance is good, the numbers are very good, chemical team is playing well. One can hold for a long term.
Okay, so we got Sapna was asking about SH Kelkar and Zensar. Kunal, you don't have to comment about both. If any one of them stand out, then perhaps you can tell us.
Well, I'll prefer the first one. That's SH Kelkar as one of the potential breakout candidates. I've been tracking the stock since last 3-4 months, specifically when the stock was going into a range action. It formed a bullish flag pattern on the monthly charts, and specifically on bullish flag patterns. Which happens on the monthly time frame, they tend to lead the stock into a new bull trend as such. So I think purely on that aspect, I believe SH Kelkar is something which you can look at. It's trading at 177. The last few months rally have been a bit smoother for the stock rather than being more swiftier. So I think purely on that aspect, you can look at a buy on dips approach, and I think the stock generally gives you a periodical correction of 5-7% odd. Along the way, so I think that should be taken as a good buying on buy on dips opportunity.
This one is from shares. Sneha Sheesh Gupta, 400 shares of IRB Infra that's bought at 164 rupees per share. Wants to know what to do with this particular counter. Kunal, what's your take coming in on IRB Infra? Purchase price is 164 rupees per share.
So again, very, very similar to what I mentioned some time back for stock like Our Sugar. So the longer term prospects for IRB Infra could look attractive because the stock has confirmed a big breakout on the monthly charts in the last 1 month. I think the month of June specifically, the stock is up some 40-41%. But then, as I said earlier, that what happens is when you see a stock moving up so swiftly higher on the longer term charts, on the short term charts, the indicators come back into an overbought territory. So, for example, again for IRB Infra, the 200-day moving average is at 110 and the stock is at 160. So that's a divergence of almost 40-45% from its long-term averages. Now, such divergences, they tend to correct, resulting into a price correction. So short-term wise, I would suggest maybe a booking profits over here, partial profits or slightly more, on IRB Infra. But if you're in from a longer-term view, then use corrections, if it happens along the way, as good buying or averaging opportunities.
Rajesh, Sudeep has gotten into Camlin Fine Life Sciences at levels of 64 and he's got 2,500 shares. So he's nearly trebling his investment right now. He's asking if it's a long-term investment bet and should he add more at this current price? Okay, we've already got that. All right. I'm coming to you then on Sterlite Technologies. This is another counter which has seen a significant increase since Surya has bought this at levels of 28. There were questions sometime last year about the profitability of, or rather the profit margins. Should Surya hold on or should he sell at this point? Rajesh, this is for you.
Yeah. See, one should continue holding into the stock. Last year there were concerns about the margin, but the kind of focus which we are witnessing in broadband technologies. Yesterday also the rural broadband scheme, something was announced by the FM. So I think all these plays well for jelly-filled cable manufacturers, Sterlite being one of them. We think these government initiatives are going to help them report good numbers and good margins in times to come. Once it can definitely continue to hold.
All right, next one is from Mayank. Mayank has asked query on two stocks, but Mayank, sorry, because paucity of time, I'll ask about one. And this one is Lincoln Pharma, 2,000 shares, which he's purchased at 320 rupees per share. He wants to know what to do with this particular counter. Kunal, what's your take coming in on Lincoln Pharma?
Well, again, a strong chart breakout, on the longer term time frame, quarterly as well as on the monthly charts. It's confirmed a big breakout, for the stock this month itself. So looks attractive, specifically. I think if you're looking at a potential 6 months, 1 year plus kind of a time horizon, then I think buying at current levels could turn out to be a good proposition. If this breakout remains sustained for Lincoln Pharma, then I believe you could see the stock potentially hitting those levels of 450, 400 as well over the next 6 months to 1 year at least. So and then it depends on how the trend evolves post that. So looks attractive from a short term as well as from medium term to longer term view, at least 6 months to 1 year kind of a time horizon.
Okay, Rajesh, one last question we're slipping in. Tech Wabag is the question, and this is coming in from Kuldeep Singh. He's looking for a 3 to 5 years view. He's gotten to Tech Wabag at levels of 200 and is currently at 345. Should he hold on?
Is it for me, Alex?
Yes, Rajesh, this is for you.
Yeah. See, first thing first, this is a very good company into water purification and all. It's a kind of Indian MNC company which has taken over its MNC partner. Company has been doing very well. The order book is going. The Namami Ganga projects and the Clean Ganga projects, all these things are helping this company. They have got good orders from state government also. They faced problems in the sometimes in the past because of huge debt, but that has been taken care of. I think this company can do wonders in times to come, and maybe 30-40% return from the current market price is also possible in the next 12 to 18 months. So I would say hold on to the stock, and for other viewers also, if any correction comes, it's an opportunity to add.
All right, time for the high risk and low risk ideas then now. Kunal, I'll come first to you. What's your high risk and low risk idea for a viewer?
Well, two buy ideas, even though the markets are a bit sluggish, but I expect stock-specific movement to continue to buy calls. First one is a Ban Cipla. That stock is inching towards a breakout of a bullish flag pattern. Pharma stocks have done pretty well for themselves in the last few days as well. So, would say it's the Ban Cipla, targets of 1040. Stop loss could be kept at 950 mark. And the second would be a Ban Asian Paints. The stock, this is more of a contrarian buy. The stock has been taking good support at the levels of 2,980 to 3,000 levels over the last few days, and purely on the hourly charts, the stock is also indicating a triangular kind of a breakout. So if it sustains this support level, then I believe the stock can build up to the gains which it has seen in the last few weeks. So it's suggest the Ban Asian Paints, positional targets of 3,200, and stop loss could be kept at 2,950.
All right, coming to you, Rajesh, on your high risk and low risk ideas, what do you have for us today?
See, basically, as Kunal said, the market is struggling at the higher side, so we are playing the result thing now. And for a medium-term target of 280 rupees, one can accumulate Motherson Sumi system. They have a good client base of Audi, EG, Daimler, Volkswagen as such. The Q4 numbers, not only Q4, Q3, last 2 quarters numbers have been very good. They have beaten it on all parameters. They have a strong EV order book, which is almost a quarter of their total order book, and the management focus on debt reduction is going to help them in big time. So I would say, well, with a medium-term target of 280 rupees, one can buy Motherson. And the other one is Graphite India, which again we have a medium-term target of 750 and 800 odd rupees in the next 6 to 9 months. It's one of the largest producer of electrodes by capacity. They have a capacity of 98,000 tons spread over 4 plants, 3 in India and 1 in Germany. As we see, there is a strong rally in steel stocks and steel as a commodity. The demand for graphite electrodes is going up like anything. They have an enviable client list like SAIL, Tesco, etc. The numbers have been good. Reported yesterday, the Q4 numbers saw a multiple jump from loss to profit actually. That's basically because of raw material prices helping them. But going forward, the demand and realizations are going to go up. And we feel that this stock can give good returns. So we are for a medium-term target of 750 and then 800 rupees, one can accumulate graphite.
All right, on that note, we've come to the end of the query segment. Thank you, Kunal, as well as Rajesh, for joining us on the show, giving us your high-risk, low-risk ideas, talking about Natco, and also resolving viewer queries. And on that note, we'll slip into a break in this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. But stay tuned, more on the other side, so don't go anywhere.